Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with me, Tom Alvarez. Today's two-part episode features actors Dani Kucera and Charlie Fulsari. They are co-starring in an Indianapolis dinner theater production of Pretty Woman the Musical. Join me now as I go on the aisle for a conversation first with Dani.
Central Indiana. Wish TV is now live on YouTube TV and Hulu Live, offering more hours of local programming than any other station. Search for Wish TV or look for CW8 on both YouTube TV and Hulu Live to find us. Watch local news, sports, and lifestyle shows live from Wish TV. You can still catch Wish TV free over the air or stream it live on wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile apps. Wish TV, available in more places for the latest news, weather, and sports.
Hello, Dani, and welcome to my podcast.
Hi, so happy to be here.
And for our listeners, this is a Zoom call, and I presume you're calling from the backstage of the Beef and Boards Dinner Theater?
I am. I'm in one of the offices here right now.
And you're on your lunch break, is that correct?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And currently you are in rehearsals for Pretty Woman the Musical, correct?
Yep.
And once again, for our listeners, the show opens on what day?
I believe it's February 17th.
Okay, so when this show drops, it will be after the fact, but sometime during the run. So how are rehearsals going?
Rehearsals have been going really well. I've been really enjoying all my castmates, getting to learn everything. It's going to be a really fun show.
Well, I've been covering the arts for a long time, and certainly Beef and Boards has been, a regular venue for me over the years. And, I know that casting, that actors come from all over the country. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm originally from outside of Philadelphia in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, but now I live in Manhattan in New York City.
Okay, how long have you lived in New York?
Only about half a year, actually. So
Okay.
pretty new.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. Where were you? Okay, you already told us where you're from, but tell me about your background, you growing up and your schooling and everything else.
Yeah, so as a kid, I actually was not involved in the arts. I was actually a cheerleader because my dad is a football coach. My brother plays football. So I was very much into that, but I think it still has sort of that performing aspect, if you
It
will.
certainly does. Yeah.
In middle school, I decided to audition for my school musical. We were doing Sue School the Musical, and I was cast as JoJo, and that's kind of when I got bit by the theater bug, as you would say. And yeah, I just kept doing theater throughout middle school and high school. Later on in high school, I kind of decided, okay, I want to, I think, go to college for this and study this. So I went to Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee for 4 years, and I got my BFA in musical theater from there. And yeah, then post-graduation, I actually came
Did you
here,
graduate? What year did you graduate from Belmont?
2024. Yeah, so
Okay.
almost 2 years ago now.
Well,
Um,
I might say that, I'm familiar with Belmont because a young woman who I'm a family friend, you may know Chauncey Ray by any chance, or she may have come after you. It doesn't matter, but it's just, I wondered if you had ever crossed paths with her. But I don't think she's in performance, so she's studying entertainment law or something.
yes,
So
big music business.
It's got a wide range of programs, does it not? Or classes?
Yeah, they have a really well accredited music business program as well as a commercial.
Yeah, but she also is a performer. But you studied, what were your majors, or what was your major?
I was a musical theater major.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
I was
how
more in like the acting school and
how
everything.
is the program?
I loved it. I felt very equipped to like come out into the professional world through the program. We had a lot of emphasis on, since it is in Nashville, a lot of emphasis on the music of the musical theater. So I took a lot of classes in theory and piano and oral skills, which I feel like has really, really helped me
Mhm.
professionally um, in a way that I kind of didn't expect until I got out into the world and I was like, oh, this is very, very
Is there a
helpful.
lot of interaction between the university and the entertainment business community there as well?
Yeah, they have a lot of well-bred connections with different recording studios in town and things like that, especially for like
Mhm.
the commercial music business aspect of things.
And do they hold workshops and outside things with a lot of these folks? And performers get involved and so on and so forth, musicians?
Yeah, we had a lot of different opportunities to do like workshops for new musicals while I was there, which was really cool. They did after I'd left, but they piloted a premiere of a Marcus Hummin musical that he wrote. So that was also pretty cool. They have a lot of really great
And do you get
connections.
opportunities to go see shows and so on and so forth, concerts and whatever?
Yeah, no shortage of concerts there. I saw a lot of things at the Ryman, the Grand Ole Opry, as well as the Tennessee Performing Arts Center. That's where all the national
Yeah.
tours would come through and things that we got to see.
Yeah. Did you get to meet any celebrities down there?
I met one of the members of Florida Georgia Line. It's like a lot of
Yeah.
country singers.
Sure, yeah.
But I was out to breakfast one morning and he was sitting there, and my
Oh, great.
roommate was like, I'm gonna talk to him. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead, girl.
Are you yourself a country fan or have you
I
become one
do.
since then?
I
Yeah.
do really enjoy country music. Growing up in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania too, I feel like helped. A lot of my friends love country, so yeah.
And so you did musicals in high school, you said, and all, and so you fell in love with the genre back then.
Hmm.
And have you seen a lot of musicals over your lifetime?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Did you make it to New York to see any?
Yeah, since I grew up close to Philly, my mom would a lot of times take me on the train to New York and we would go see shows. The
Okay.
first show I saw was Wicked, which is to this day my favorite show, my
Well, of
favorite Broadway musical.
course. Yeah.
Um, it's the best. So,
And so you literally after graduation moved to New York and to fulfill that quintessential sort of dream?
yeah, pretty much. I actually was here for the summer after graduating doing Legally Blonde. And then kind of after that, I actually booked the Pretty Woman national tour. So
Oh,
I did
okay.
that. And then I like officially actually got myself all my stuff to New York June of 2025
Yeah.
after the tour was done.
What was that decision based on to actually move there?
Yeah, it's just I personally think you kind of have to be there just to take advantage of all the different auditions and things. You never know, like it's nice to be that close by. That's where all the auditions are held, basically. And also, I'm a big learner. I love to continually train and keep learning, and there are a lot of really high caliber classes and lessons that I get to take when I'm in the city that I don't have
So
access to.
so was it just sort of a romantic escapade that you just wanted to live the dream and as I said, the quintessential dream was how much it had to do with you just want to soak up what New York had to offer in general?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've like totally fallen in love with the city. There's so much to do. And it also felt, like you said, like kind of entering a new chapter of my life. I'm not in college anymore. Like I'm an adult and I'm living on my own and I can do as I please in this new city. So it's really
It's
cool.
well, of course. like a lot of performers, though, you may live there, but you have to go wherever the work takes you, right? And that includes Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you feel about that? I mean, is it possible? Because I've talked to a lot of performers who spend most of their time on the road in order to make a living because there's only so much work in New York City. Is that the reality, do you believe?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to come and see different places. And I also think it's really important that like towns outside of New York City still have access to really high quality theater.
Yes.
It's really important to me. And I've seen, especially on the road with Pretty Woman, I've seen how much of an impact that can make for people to be able to go see, again, like such high caliber professional work being done where they live, and they don't need to spend so much money to go get that same caliber in New York City.
And conversely, I talk to a lot of performers, and I often broach this question or ask this question. So it doesn't necessarily hold true that if you're any good, you'd be in New York City performing as opposed to out in the rest of the country.
No, I don't, I personally don't believe that's true.
Yeah.
There are so many like well done regional theaters across the country who are bringing in
Mhm.
such amazing talent. And it's really, your talent is not indicative if you're performing in New York or performing elsewhere. I don't believe.
Mhm. That in my experience as a longtime reviewer, I've seen a lot of people come through here in touring companies, and I also go to New York, and I think the caliber is as high as it is in Manhattan. I mean, on Broadway.
Mhm.
Extraordinary. And in fact, a lot of performers who came through here performed in the Broadway version. So, audience are getting, I mean, right, everything, the sets, everything. I mean, I think it's a great financial deal, actually, for when you're in a touring
Absolutely.
company. Yeah. How many cities did you tour?
Whew, we probably toured like over 50 cities.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah,
What a
I was on the
great
road.
education for you.
Yes, it was, there was nothing like it, to be honest. I
Was
had
it was it
the
a
best
was it
time.
a was it a bus and truck tour? Did you have layovers or?
It was a bus and truck tour. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we flew some places, like we ended up going to Mexico and Canada. We flew there.
Wow.
But a lot of times we were on the bus and we would kind of get up in the morning, get on the bus, get to whatever city by 2 or 3 p.m., have a couple hours, go to the show, do the same thing the next day, like one night cities.
Wow. But you have the energy for that, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, and what was it like, the whole experience of bonding with your fellow cast members? And well, I guess that's the question. Did you bond?
Yeah, we definitely bonded. We were together like all the time, and that group specifically, I feel so lucky because I really came out of that experience with like best friends for life.
Yeah. Do you
Like,
still have that group text going?
of course, yeah, yeah. And I was a swing on the tour, so I covered multiple parts, but there was another
Oh.
female swing, and she's just like one of my best friends in the world. I talk to her every day, and I got to know her like through that experience. So I'm very lucky and
So
grateful.
how are things going at Beef and Boards? How long have you been there? How long have you, yeah.
I got here on Thursday, so it's been what, 6 days?
Okay.
It's been going really well. I really enjoy everyone here. We're learning a lot of information pretty quickly, but
And you are, well, we should have said this in the beginning. I should ask you in the beginning. You are playing the lead role.
yes, I'm playing
Okay.
Vivian.
Okay, so tell us about tell for those people who never saw the movie. I can't imagine there's anyone like that, but just in case, why don't you tell us about this musical is based on the Julia Roberts film. What year was that? Do you know? Right
I
off
think
the
it was
top of your
released in the 90s, like
Yeah.
early 90s.
And when was it turned into a musical? You know that? When did
A
it
few years
premiere?
ago, I think 2020, 2021 was when it was
Okay.
on Broadway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and when did it go out on tour? And it was the one you were on, or were there
Yeah,
several?
I there were several different like legs of the tour, kind
Right.
of ranging from I think 2022 to 2025. So about three
Yeah.
years it was on tour.
Yeah. And so, okay, so tell me about your character. And
Yeah,
again, for those who don't know anything about the musical.
yeah, so Vivian is she works on Hollywood Boulevard. And she has been through a lot in her life. She had to drop out of high school. Hasn't really had she hasn't made a lot of great decisions in her life, mostly because of how tough her life has been up until this point. And at the start of the show, she is working with her best friend Kit, and she meets Edward Lewis, who is the
And let's just say she's a sex worker, correct?
yes, she's a sex
Okay.
worker.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
She's out on the street working with Kit when she sees Edward, and Kit very much tells her you should go after him, and she starts coercing Edward to spend an hour with her or a night with her, and he ultimately decides he would like to spend an hour with her. So the whole story kind of unfolds in that way, and it without, I guess, spoiling it. I don't know, but
Yeah.
they kind of their relationship grows throughout the musical, and they
Right.
both kind of become more vulnerable and realize the things that they the things that they see in themselves and in the other person that
Hmm.
ultimately draws them together in the end. Yeah.
Does the musical follow the film version as far as you know?
Yeah,
Pretty
it follows
closely.
up pretty well,
Yeah.
honestly. And I think there are some nice like little twists and things and like
Sure. And of
um
course, when they make it a musical, sometimes they have to change it in order to, so that songs can be written about it, around it, and so on and so forth, right?
yeah, so some of like the key moments in the movie, they're kind
Yeah.
of expanded on through song and
Yeah.
dance as they would be.
I can't say I've heard the score, so I'm not familiar with it, but how would you describe the music and the score?
So,
If you could describe it, what are some adjectives?
yeah, it's written by Bryan Adams, so rock, pop.
Hmm.
There's very trying to think of some other words.
Brian Adams, remind me, what did he write? What was some songs he wrote?
He wrote Heaven, he wrote Summer of '69, I
Oh
believe.
yeah, okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah, he's a great artist. So the music is
It's
very reminiscent of that um
so would you
type
call
of
it
pop rock.
soft rock? Would you call it soft rock?
Yeah, there's some soft rock and there are other songs that are pretty like driving, like
Okay,
we're
yeah,
getting the rock and roll feel.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So youthful and energetic, it sounds like as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah, and how about the script? You said that it pretty much follows the film version.
Yeah, it pretty much follows the film version. There are a couple things that have been, I guess, omitted and other things that
Mhm.
are expanded on again, but it's pretty true to the original
You said you
story.
were a swing on the tour. Did you play the lead role as well?
Yes, I was a swing and an understudy for Vivian.
So, have you ever done dinner theater?
I have, yeah. The last time I did it was when I did it here.
O- Okay. Uh, and when was that?
I did Legally Blonde in 20 summer of
Okay,
2024
so
after
you did that.
graduation.
Okay, that's what you were referring to. You did that production here. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. What was it like?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought it was really cool. I was playing another Vivian in that production actually, so the running joke is I only play Vivians at Beef and Boards. Um, but
So,
yeah.
Beef and Boards is not a new experience to you, right?
No. Yeah. I spent the whole summer
How are the fans? How is that received, Legally Blonde?
I think it was received really well. Yeah, it seemed like everyone had a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. That's another like they're Legally Blonde and Pretty Woman are both Jerry Mitchell musicals, so they're kind of like
Sure.
a feel-good, energetic, like
Yeah.
just like a
And how
great
did
night out kind of show.
and how was it working for the theater itself, the management and just just the crew and everything? How did you
Yeah.
find that experience and do now?
Yeah, I loved my experience here. That was a big part of the reason I was like, I would love to come back. I felt
Hmm.
like Beef and Boards, they treat their actors very well, and they really care about their patrons as well too, and trying to create a great experience for
Hmm.
literally everyone involved, which is very important to me.
Good to
So
see any of Indy while you were here last time around.
I did, yeah. I think I went to the downtown area a little bit, and then Carmel, Indiana. I spent some
Sure.
time there. Um,
Yeah. And
yeah.
did you get to interact with your audiences afterwards? I mean, did you do any meet and greets or that kind of thing?
Occasionally. I think it was more so our Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, she would kind of do meet and greets quite often.
Yeah.
But whenever I was out there seeing like people who I know who came to see it, I would always have people coming up to chit chat, which was really cool to meet people who had actually just seen the show.
So would you say that ultimately performing, you're living your dream?
I would, yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
definitely feels like my path and what I want to be doing. It definitely is a dream.
And if you could have been taught something that you weren't at Belmont, what would that be?
It was a smaller program, but we didn't have like understudies in our shows. We were double cast, which offers a similar experience, but coming into being a swing on tour, I had zero experience doing that. I was kind of like learning what works for me as I go. But that would be really the only thing if there was
Yeah.
like more opportunities to do
So
things like that.
you got your money's worth in your training at Belmont, then you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It was like one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Well, it's very competitive there. I mean, to get in must have been that itself was quite a, accomplishment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's one of the top theaters programs, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Very well accredited.
What would you say to someone listening who is, in high school and loves the arts and is considering doing what you've done, making a living as a performer? What would you say to them?
Oh, wow. As cliche as it sounds, and this is what people said to me, and when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, that can't be true. But like genuinely, like the opportunities that are meant for you will not pass you by, is the first thing. And two, like making a good connection with people goes a really long way. I've gotten multiple opportunities and jobs just because people enjoy working with me and I enjoy working with them. And a lot of it
Hmm.
is relationships. So, yes, you have to be talented and hardworking and all the things, but it's still really important to just be a good person and be someone that people
Yeah.
like to be around.
I've heard this before that it's very important that kindness goes a long way. And there's the old cliches and the old stereotypes about diva behavior. What are your thoughts about diva behavior?
Yeah, I always think of it as like there's well, I don't think there's any need for diva behavior, but like we're all working together as a team. Like no one person is more important than another in putting on some sort of creative project. Like if one little cog in the wheel is not working, then the whole thing doesn't work. So it's really important to just in theater like be a team and be willing to give and take like with the people you're working with for
And
sure.
do you interact with your crew and what is your and how do you do that?
Like crew as in like
Well, just
lighting,
the people
sound.
backstage, all the people that work with. I mean, do you feel kindness goes a long way with them as well?
Absolutely. I always try to something that's important to me actually, like in any job. I like work at a restaurant in New York when I'm not
Oh,
working, but
okay. Well,
um
you know about teamwork.
yeah, like I think it's important to like when I enter a new space with someone I don't know, I always introduce myself. Hi, I'm Danny. Even though we might not see each other all the time,
Sure.
like we're all working together in this space and treating crew members with respect as well because they are also doing a very hard job managing everything backstage. Sometimes on tour, we would have like local crew just for one night. It's still important to just be respectful to everyone involved.
What would you say to listeners who haven't seen the movie, who haven't, and what can they expect if they come to see this production?
Yeah, it's a really just feel good night out. It's a love story after all. So if you like seeing sort of the rom-com movie thing, you're definitely going to get that on stage. And also, this cast is really, really talented. The storytelling and the vocals that we are getting in this show is really, really high caliber. So yeah, it's just gonna be like a super fun, lighthearted night out for anyone who hasn't seen it.
From my experience, the Beef and Board does a fantastic job in that such small space to create these worlds.
Mhm.
What do you have to say about the sets and the lighting and the sound and the orchestra, everything else?
Yeah, I'm really excited about our set personally. Our director Adam showed us some of
Yeah,
his
who is the director?
renderings.
I'm sorry.
Adam Duplessis,
Okay.
he's our director. Yeah,
Yes.
and he's currently starring in Mousetrap at the theater.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I saw it and I reviewed it. Yeah, great cast. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so he's our director and he did the renderings. You're definitely gonna get the fire escape of Vivian's apartment. You're gonna get the opera box with the spiral staircase coming down, which will be super cool. The costumes are being done by Kathy Henry and they look absolutely
I don't
fabulous.
want to give it away, but is there like that famous red dress in it?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
I bet you it was fun when you first put that on, right?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely a
Yeah.
highlight. A
Yeah.
lot of the costumes are very reminiscent of the movie. Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm going to be there media night and I'm covering it. And so I look forward to seeing you and the rest of the cast. How many people are in the cast?
I think it's a little less than 20 of us. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty small.
It's
Yeah.
always amazing to me, though, how, beef and boards, again, in such a contained space can do what they do. They're just the best at that.
For sure.
And, it's all smoke and mirrors, right? But they always manage to storytell in a way. It's intimate space too. That's what I love about it. It's
Mhm.
like it's like cabaret theater, and you get good
Yeah,
food. You get good food too. That's why they've existed as long as they have, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what a pleasure it's been talking to you. And I look forward to seeing you and break a leg.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Okay, well, I maybe afterwards you can come out and say hello. I'd love
I
to
would
meet
love
you.
that. Would love
All
to meet you
right.
in person.
Okay, take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Join me now for part two as I go on the aisle for a chat with Charlie. Good morning, Charlie. It's great to have you on my podcast. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, happy to be here.
So I saw the show the other night. I was there for media night, and when was that? I think it was last Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So you are in Pretty Woman at Beef and Board's Dinner Theater, the beloved Beef and Board's Dinner Theater, and you're going to be there until how long? Pretty Women, the musical for our listeners, by the way. We'll get into all of that. But how long is the run?
The run is until we close on April 4th.
April 4th. Okay, that's a long time. Okay. And what are the days of the run during is it Mondays off, but you perform every day?
I believe it's Mondays off, and then we have at least one performance every day of the week outside.
Okay. So when did you arrive in Indy to start rehearsing?
I believe it was February 4th, I think, February 4th or 5th that I got here.
Yeah. And have you performed at Beef and Boards before?
Never. It's my
Okay.
first.
How has it been thus far?
It's been great. It's been great. It's been a really fun experience getting to do this show with this group of people and this company.
Had you ever crossed paths with any of your fellow actors in the show before?
I have. I was on the Pretty Woman National Tour from 2023 to 2024 with our director Adam Duplessis and one of our featured ensemble, Alexandra Kinsley.
Okay, I know that I interviewed Danny, who's going to be on the other part of the show, the other half of the show, and she also was on that national on a national tour. But this is separate from the yours.
So yeah, I did it from 2023 to 2024, and she jumped on board, I believe towards the end of 2024, and then did it for the first half of 2025.
And did you play the same role in the tour?
No, I was in the ensemble where I was playing the landlord, and then I understudied the role that I'm playing now, Edward Lewis.
Okay, and so what was it like to go from the roles that you played before to the lead and Edward?
I felt pretty prepared. It was a role that I was always ready to go on for when I was on tour for a little over a year. I went on for it a couple times while I was on tour, and when I started looking over the material again to prepare for this, it was sort of just like getting back on a bike.
Yeah, yeah. And did you, I presume you probably put your own stamp on the role, huh? Having seen the lead do it for that year, right?
Well, I try to. I think something that's like maybe a little unique to me is I'm probably on the younger side to be playing this role. Um, but and there are certain, isms that I'm just not gonna have as a, 26-year-old that maybe people would expect someone to have that's playing this role that, Richard Gere played when he was 40. So
Yeah.
so I think just by me being myself, it's putting its own unique stamp on the role.
Sure. And tell me, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but was it a challenge having to be, or, do you find yourself being compared to people who saw, quote, the movie with Richard Gere? Has that been an issue?
No, not an issue. I think people are a little surprised when I tell them that that's the role that I'm playing because they're so used to seeing someone with maybe silver hair playing the role. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think for the story that we're telling, it's okay. It's okay,
Yeah.
and the text and the circumstances do enough of the job.
Well, for those who've never seen the movie or have no clue about Pretty Woman, give us a quick, brief uh, uh, description of the film
Sure.
and of the musical, which is based on the film, correct?
Yeah. The story centers around a young woman named Vivian Ward, who is a sex worker on Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles. And she runs into this man named Edward Lewis, who is a billionaire who buys and sells companies that are failing for scrap, and he that's how he makes his living. And they cross paths and develop an unlikely relationship along the way.
And tell me about the score and what are your thoughts about the score that you sing, the songs that you sing, and remind me who the writers are.
Sure. Brian Adams is the writer of the music for this show. And when I'm singing the songs that I sing, it does remind me a lot of his music, a lot of his ballads. Um, Edward doesn't sing anything too, the character that I play doesn't sing anything too upbeat. A lot of them are on the slower side, and they just feel very Brian Adams-esque. It is a pop rock score, and I think it lends itself nicely to uh, today's current musical theater climate.
Yeah. Oh, I'm writing a review, and so I won't. I won't foretell the things that I've said about it, but I was curious about your take on that particular score and the fact that Bryan Adams, and he's so well known for so many of his works and how his stuff played in a musical format.
I think for this particular show, it works very well. I think it's very with the times. Something we said early on in rehearsals is that like it's kind of crazy to view the show as a period piece because it is. It's a late 80s, early 90s show, and
Yeah,
that's we're playing almost 35 years ago at this point. Uh,
yeah. And you
I
weren't
think
even you weren't even born. It just
I
occurred
was
to me.
not. I was not. So I think his music lends itself very nicely to the time period that this show is taking place.
Okay, so your director has done this piece before, so he knew it backwards and forwards, I take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you like the dinner theater? How do you like the dinner theater experience? And have you ever done dinner theater before?
I've never been a part of a dinner theater company before, but I don't treat it any differently than I have any other theater job that I've ever had. Um, People are paying to see a show, um, and that's sort of the only thing that I try and keep in mind. I think the only difference is I've never performed, somewhat in the round. So, the audience is very much on a curved like half circle. So making
Mhm.
sure that, everyone in the theater can see the show is something that I've tried to
Yeah,
keep in
I've
mind.
always been very impressed with the directing, and of course they block it so that when you're on stage, everybody's aware of, the seating and you're playing to all sides. It seems they do a great job of that there. Does it ever bother you? Is it ever a distraction? Well, for people who've been there and for those who haven't, they serve a buffet dinner beforehand on steam tables, and then they roll them backstage and then they bring in the stage. It's very cool. Just that part of it is part of the show. And so, by the time the show starts, people are like, finishing up their desserts or whatever. So there's a little clinking, isn't there? But that doesn't distract you, right? And
No,
there's no servers walking around or bus people or whatever. So
yeah, no, it's not bothersome to me at all.
yeah, yeah. So I read your background and you're Italian American. Who knew with a name like that, right? And
Sure.
and you grew up where?
I grew up in Essex County, New Jersey.
Oh gosh, that's such a cliche, isn't it? That you're
It
Italian
is.
American growing up in Jersey.
Jersey boy from Jersey.
In fact, one of the shows that you played is Jersey Boys, right?
Yep.
Wow. And which role did you play in that? Was that a national tour?
No, I played the role of Bob Gaudio in Jersey Boys on the Norwegian Cruise Line Blip.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which
What was, go ahead.
it was the original production company. So it was all original costumes, all original choreography, um, all
So
original
you, so
blocking.
you, so that you weren't one of the singers in the
I
in
was. I,
the.
I played the role of Bob Gaudio. I was
Oh,
the
okay. That's right. That's right. You said that.
the
Okay.
youngest of
How
the
did
seasons.
did it and did you were you able to take anything from your heritage and infuse it in that role?
Oh, 100%. You know, I don't feel like I have a quote unquote New Jersey accent,
I was
but
just going to ask you. I don't hear it. So
yeah.
your drama school must have knocked that out of you, huh?
No, I didn't go to drama school, but I think I grew up with the accent all around me, and I tried really hard to have it be as neutral as possible. But I was able to channel some of my heritage and some of my culture to ham up that accent.
Yeah,
Um, and it was fun because so much of the history behind the show is still very active in my life.
yeah,
Um, Places that we like to go, places that my family's from are still, those are plot points, and
yeah.
it was cool to be able to have, I feel like a unique understanding of things that were happening in the show.
Well, I, for one, happen to love that culture. I like the whole shtick. I love the whole accent of, all of The Godfather and all the popular culture stuff. There's a reason why people gravitate towards it. People have a lot of affection for that culture, the American Italian experience, don't you think?
Listen, it's where I'm
You
from.
lived it, I
Part of
guess.
me. I lived it. My parents and my grandparents more than maybe me, but it was fun to have that be a stop on my journey.
Now, do you celebrate on Christmas? Like, what's it called? You have a special seven fishes dinner and all that?
We used to when Christmases used to be bigger, but as family has grown and we used to host every year. I would say probably for like 20 years my family would host. But then, kids get older, families get bigger, and then they start, sort of branching off and having holidays on their own. Um, but it was a part of my my holiday traditions for about 20 years.
Well, let's talk about you some more. So I see you are a Disney freak. You collect sneakers, you
I do.
love photography, and you play the guitar. So you know how to keep yourself entertained.
I try to. I try to. I try and fill my days with things that I enjoy. A promise I made to myself, when I was, I think, in college was, I'm not gonna spend my days doing something that, I don't enjoy. So whether it is, you know, shopping around for a new pair of sneakers or, going down and visiting some friends in Florida and maybe hanging out in the Disney parks for a couple of days or, pulling out my guitar and just strumming for a little while. I'm trying to fill my days with things that fill my cup.
No,
Um,
I asked you about drama school, but you said you didn't go to drama school. You did go to Sacred Heart University.
I did. I did
And
go to
what
Sacred
did you,
University.
where's that? Where's that?
That is in Fairfield, Connecticut, and I went to that school not having theater on my mind at all. I'd never done theater before. Um, and it was when I met my friend Henley, and he was heavily involved in the theater program. And I was like, you know what, I'll go and support him and see the show that he's in. And I saw that the impact that theater had on audiences, and I thought it was something that I could try and do. And I caught the bug, and I've never stopped. You know,
You ever done anything like that before? On stage in like grade school or elementary or
I was never a performer.
really?
Yeah, performing always scared the bejesus out of me.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't until theater where I sort of like truly conquered that. I don't want to
And
say fear because I always felt like I was a good speaker, but performing is a whole other level of vulnerability that you're, exhibiting on stage and just sort of, exposing yourself in all, like, you're singing, acting, dancing, all these different things. Um,
did you
but no,
end up taking classes?
yeah, so I took whatever my school was able to offer. I don't think that my school was a place that you went to do theater. I think it was a place that you went and happened to do theater. And I mean, they've grown so much since my time there, um, under their artistic director that I've been very close with, and with been very close with during my time there. And I went back, I think it was last year, to do a talk, and their theater wing and performing arts wing has grown maybe I would say 10 times the size since I've been there. So um I think it's going to mean a lot more that I when I say that I went to Sacred Heart in a few years than it maybe did when I first graduated.
Drew you to those friends of yours who were in the theater, the so-called theater kids?
What about them?
Well, what drew them to you? Is there something that attracted you to want to be a part of that world?
Well, I think it was really just my one friend, and being a theater kid is it's not something I knew about him. Like I just knew that he was involved in the theater program, and he was cast in a show that I was like, you know what, I'll go and support you as my friend. And I saw the show. I enjoyed my time in the show, and then I saw the impact that the show had on the audience, and I was like, wait. the audience is experiencing something very real by something that's very not real. And I want to try that.
Mhm.
And I think becoming friends with theater people was just a byproduct of me trying something new.
Wow, we share a similar story. This isn't about you, but I can tell you that's how I got into the theater because I had a friend and I met her friends in the theater, and I was drawn to them because they were all kind of misfits and they all wore black and they were mysterious and enigmatic. And I wanted to know more about that. But anyway, it was very similar. And that's, once I hit the stage, that was it. And I've had a life of being involved in one way or another around the theater. So yeah, you really can catch the bug once you experience that. So what was it like the first time you were up there and the old roar of the grease paint and so on and so forth, and
Yeah, I my first
the roar of
musical,
the crowd.
yeah, my first musical that I was ever a part of was a show called Reefer Madness. It
Oh
was
my
my
goodness.
it was my first semester of sophomore year. I played the role of Jack Stone slash Jesus, and it was a farcical comedy musical, and I think that was a very jarring exposure to theater for the first time because it's larger than life. It's not super, living in a very realistic place. But, I would argue that comedy is harder than drama 9 out of 10 days of the week, or 9 out of 10 times. But just, I don't know. I remember being up there and feeling like I was making a fool of myself, but like that was the point of that show.
Mhm.
And, I learned a lot from that show. I think the show that I learned the most from though was um probably during my tenure in school was probably Once the musical. Um, I learned how to play the guitar for that show, and I learned the power of silence, the power of stillness, um, and the power of being real. And, you know, I think that was my first real run at trying to be someone that's forgetting that they're in a scene and just being a person. And being a person on stage, just like a regular person, is the hardest thing to do because naturally there's an audience in front of you watching you, and that's a very unnatural thing. Um, so yeah, that's my little spiel on college.
So you've consistently worked ever since college?
I had a pretty good stretch there. I mean, I took the summer after I graduated to save, make some money, and then I stepped into my first professional job in the fall of 2021. And then I took a class in New York City. I took a 2-week intensive called actor therapy and really just went through for 2 weeks the art of auditioning, the art of being your own business, the art of how to brand yourself and market yourself. And that was where I landed my first agent, and I've been working fairly consistent. I worked fairly consistently from 2022 to 2020 to the end of 2024, um and then I joined the Actors Equity Union, and sort of decided after my run in Pretty Woman on the national tour that um I didn't really I wanted to, if I could, stay local, and if I was going to leave it wouldn't be for too long of a time. And I think I've just reached a point in my life where I'm craving a little stability and steadiness. So joining the union helped that in terms of the auditions I was getting, um, and just making sure that if I was going to leave again, like leave New York, New Jersey again, it would be worth it.
Right. Are you based in New York currently?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
New York, New Jersey.
Okay. And okay, you've been on, tell me about your other big credits. You're in a couple of other shows, big shows, right? Touring
Sure.
companies?
Yeah, Jersey Boys was my first, major credit and, principal job. And then I went to I think I had a few months off there, and then I went right to the national tour of Pretty Woman, which is
Okay.
doing now, and I did that from the fall of 2023 till October of 2024.
Yeah. And was that like how many cities did you tour? Was it
Uh,
like a bus and truck, or did you fly places? Did you have sit downs
it was a
or
mix of both. I would say it was like half flight, half bus. Um, I don't know. I mean, I want to say, yeah. Well, I'll answer it this way. I've been to 38 states out of the 50 that we
um,
have.
that's impressive.
Yeah. So I don't know
Is
how
it a
many cities.
blur? Is it a blur though?
I mean, listen, I look back on that experience with a lot of great memories, and some of it's a blur because of, just sometimes it was 4 or 5 cities in one week, and the traveling can be a lot. Um, but no, there are definitely moments that stand out to me where I'm like, oh my God, I remember that city, or it's not all a blur.
You really bond with the cast and crew, do you not?
Yeah, you don't really have a choice. They become your home. They become your work family, and when you go home, you're living with them sometimes because you have a roommate, or you decide that you want to get an Airbnb for the week with, 6 of your castmates, and um, it's sort of e- exposure by nature, by the
Do you
circumstances.
come from a big family by any chance?
I'm one of I mean, I come from a nuclear family of 5, so I don't know if
Yeah.
you consider.
So you're used to having brothers and sisters and coming from
Yeah,
a
2
large.
younger brothers.
So you fit in with that whole culture, didn't you? The sort of family culture of a cast.
Yeah, I
The
would say
crew.
so.
Yeah. So do you have a lot of great memories of, I mean, did you make it a point when you're in these cities to, to visit the local attractions, take in music, art museums, restaurants, blah, blah, blah?
When we had the time, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there were certain cities that we were only there for a day or a night, and then we would, leave out first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
When we were there for some time, yes, that was definitely a point that
And I bet you also, did you enjoy performing? And I'm kind of a architecture nerd, and so historic old theaters intrigue me, and you probably played a lot of those, didn't you?
I think so. Like I don't know if I could name them off the top of my head, but being inside some of those really cool um older theaters in those bigger market towns were were definitely a really cool part of that journey. Like I know that there were definitely some places in Chicago and in Detroit, and some of them were massive. I mean, I don't know if I could
Yeah.
name off the top of my head, but like Miami had a really great performing art. Like there were so many great spots that
Yeah.
I were being like, oh, I wish we were here for longer.
Yeah, like, the Schubert in Chicago, the Oriental places like that you're talking about. Every city has, theaters like that
Hmm.
that were built in the 20s or so and are still flourishing. So you lived, sounds like you've lived the quintessential life of an actor. You've toured, you grew up in New Jersey, New York. And so, what's it like? Do you feel like you're living your dream?
I feel like if I'd told Charlie 10 years ago that this is what the next 10 years of his life would look like, he would have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you and Charlie still in touch?
Me and the past version of myself.
Yeah.
I try to tap into the younger version of myself as often as I can. I like to, me and my friend like to say, I may be an adult, but I'm refusing to grow up.
Yeah. Well, listen, I hope that the remainder of your run is, satisfying and that, you leave this experience, feeling good about your performance and everything. What's next?
What's next? What's next is going back home probably at the end of the run and, jumping back to the classroom setting where I had spent probably the last, I think, full year. Um, just trying to stay ready, stay learning.
Do
Uh,
you live in Manhattan or New Jersey?
I split my time.
Okay.
I split my
Okay.
time. I'm still very close with my family in New Jersey, so I try and see them as often as I can.
So tell me about your family, your
What would
mom
you
and
like to know?
dad. Yeah. Tell me about your mom and dad. What are their names?
Mark and Lori.
Yeah. Have
Mark
they
and Lori.
always supported you from the beginning in everything you chose to do?
They have. They have. And I tell young people, as if I'm not a young person, but I tell young people all the time that want to try out this business and this industry is having support from your family and friends is like 75% of the battle. And
Hmm.
I've been very blessed and fortunate that, my family supported me in this journey every step of the way.
Yeah. And what was it like, what was their reaction when they saw you on the stage or still see you on the stage?
Man, they're really proud. They're really proud. They're really happy every time that I am on stage. I think going from gig to gig, they forget maybe sometimes how much I love it and how much they love it because, you know, as much as they would want to, they can't see every single performance of every single show that I do. Um, but when they came and saw Jersey Boys, when they came and saw me in Pretty Woman in DC, you know, they're beaming and they're so proud and I can't help but feel really grateful that, they support me in this and that's a hard thing to support somebody in because of how much instability comes with this job.
Oh.
Um,
So
so it
what are your long-term goals? What would you like to do? Do you want to do film? Do you want to continue to do theater only or everything?
I want to be happy with whatever I'm doing.
Good answer. Yeah.
That's my long-term goal. My long-term goal is to be happy and maybe stay steady on the way there.
Have you ever done film or television?
I haven't I haven't, but that's what I'm in class for. I'm in class for screen acting when I am in New York.
Have you
And
gotten a Law and Order gig yet?
I've not, but I stay ready for it.
Well, you can also go to Chicago and get on all their shows too.
Something I'll look into. I have family out there, so it might not be
Yeah.
that's
Well, it's been a delight getting to know you. And like I said, for our listeners and for you, and check out my review and I'll share my thoughts. But overall, I could say that, you got a great future ahead for
I
you. And
appreciate
I
that.
predict great things ahead. So again, thank you for taking the time. And, I hope the rest of the run goes well.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Okay, take care. Say hi to Danny and tell her to listen to this podcast too, okay?
I will.
All right, take care. Bye. Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official newsletter for 15 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community. Thank you for joining me on the aisle. Please subscribe to my podcast. And if you want to hear previous episodes, find them on the All Indiana Podcast Network or listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. This is Tom Alvarez.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.